Welcome to JSOM's Business Communication Center tutorial. This tutorial is on resume format, surviving applicant tracking systems. We're going to cover today artificial intelligence and how those systems read resumes. We'll show you the template that's going to be a safeguard for you and give you some tips about applicant tracking systems. We'll discuss corruption dangers with ATSs and add some employer preferences. And then we'll give you the best practices for drafting your resume to ensure it gets through an ATS. Finally, we'll tell you how to get an appointment for an individual review of your resume. So from your professional development classes, you know that artificial intelligence is being used to read resumes. We talk about these systems as applicant tracking systems, ATS. Sometimes we just refer to them as scanners. You also probably are aware that for every 100 applications a company receives, only about 25 are selected by the applicant tracking systems. So these systems are really intended to reject resumes instead of to select resumes. That means your number one goal has to be to get past the ATS. If 75% of resumes are going to be rejected by ATSs, this is going to take some attention. 95% of Fortune 500 companies and 90% of all American companies are using these systems. They're going to evaluate the format. Now, when we say format, we are talking about the way the document looks. They are also going to evaluate the bullet strength to see if that bullet point is strong, if it represents a skill rather than a task. They're going to be looking at the metrics. So if you think that you've got metrics in there that are hiding, you might want to make an appointment with the BCC to find those hidden metrics. Also, to build your bullet points, we would recommend that you view two short videos on our website. One is Resume Bullets, Begin Strong, and the other is BCC BAM Bullet Formula, where you actually get a formula you can use to strengthen all of your bullet points. So the template that you're required to use as a JSOM student is on the Career Management Center website. These are ATS-friendly templates. We've worked all of the kinks out for you. If you will just Google UTD, CMC, and resume, you should get to the page that has the templates. There's some for technical, some for marketing, some for undergraduates, some for graduates. So choose the appropriate template to use. And if you want to upload your resume into Handshake, the university system for job searches, you will need to be using this template. Now, a few tips to remember about ATSs. Each system may function a little differently than the next one. Also, you want to make sure that you have experience in section headings that contain bullets. We found out about a year ago that there are two systems. One was being used by PricewaterhouseCoopers, that if the word experience was not in that section, like professional experience, and it's got bullet points, or we've got an academic project section, but if it did not say academic project experience, then the ATS did not recognize that that information was what it was supposed to be, academic projects or work experience. And so it would dump that information. Now, a dump is when the ATS doesn't really recognize what that information is, and so it dumps it at the bottom in a kind of other section, which some employers don't even read. So if your section has bullets in it, you want to make sure that the word experience itself is in that section heading name, academic project experience. Also, you want to make sure you're using keywords. The ATS is a program to look for keywords, but be careful not to copy and paste phrases from the job posting. Keywords are okay, but not phrases. Most ATSs are set to reject resumes that copy directly from the job posting. So we keep talking about corruption dangers. What does that look like? Well, it looks something like this. Now, your document may look just fine to you, but the ATS may read it this way, and it will. If it's corrupted, it will be completely illegible. So you have got to make sure that the ATS is not fumbling around in the dark, but can actually read your resume. And we've got some tips to help you with that. You want to watch for all errors. These systems will pick up every little tiny error. If my margins are off even one space, they will detect it. If I have any spelling errors, if I have inconsistencies in the dashes between dates, they'll find that and report it as an error. If my thumb got heavy on the space bar and I ended up putting 2 spaces between keywords instead of 1 space, the ATS will detect this as an error and it won't recognize the keyword. So we're talking about tiny, picky little details here. That ATS is going to reject my resume for one little error. Well, yes, because there are plenty of other candidates who paid attention to detail and don't have any errors. So you've got to look at your proofread very, very carefully. You know that American employers prefer one-page documents. Now, there's an exception to this rule, and that is if you have 5 or more years of experience, you may not be submitting your resume through a portal that is going to end up using an ATS. But to be on the safe side, even those positions, you probably want to have a one-page resume. You can attach your resume maybe in the application process at another time if you've got a 2-page resume. But for entry-level positions, they're 1 page. Employers have so many applications, they don't have time to scan through 2 pages. An ATS can't really tell how many pages your document is. Instead, they measure the percentage of white space versus text. So if I accidentally hit enter at the bottom of my resume and that elongated that document into 2 pages instead of 1, but there's no text on the second page, the ATS is going to end up reporting that 85% of my resume is white space, and it may be automatically rejected for that much white space. So very key, no heavy formatting. ATSs cannot process lines, heavy shading, information in text boxes or in headers or footers. Columns, they cannot read information in columns. Collapsible headings are a corruption danger. And no matter how pretty your face is, don't put your picture on your resume because ATSs cannot process images. So attention to detail is critical, and the templates are set up to help you avoid some of the pitfalls. Margins are set for 1/2 inch. 1 inch is really too wide of a margin for a resume. It makes it look like I didn't have much to say about myself, so I shoved everything to the middle. On the other hand, ATSs cannot process information outside of 1/2 inch, so they cannot be any smaller than 1/2 inch. And you want to make sure that you're using right-aligned tabs to justify the dates. Otherwise, it could be a corruption problem. And that's all set up for you in the templates. You will notice that the education section is first. It's always first. It's expected to be first. There's a couple of reasons for this. So one is that when reviewers are reading resumes, they have a difficult time focusing on any of your work experience until they know where you are in your education. So Does he have a bachelor's degree? What is it in? Is she working on her master's? When is she going to get it? Make sure you get this information at the top out of the way. The other thing concerns an ATS. So they expect a certain order. And when information is not in that order, say I don't have education at the top, the ATS may report that I have no education. It might get dumped. So don't change the order on the template of the sections, and try not to change the wording. ATSs are also programmed to recognize certain wording in the section headings. Now the font is going to be Calibri 11 points. Calibri is a modern style of lettering. It's ATS friendly, and it's the default font for Outlook email. So it's kind of quickly become the business style font. 10 points is too small. That causes eye strain for employers, and 12 points is too large. Makes it, again, look like I didn't have much to say about myself, so I made the letters huge to take up lots of room. And finally, remember that your bullet points are filled dots. They're not trees, angels, arrows, or puppies. Let's be professional. Based on what we have said, you know that the resume on the left is ATS compliant and the one on the right is not. Now, I got this one on the right from a resume consulting firm online that wants you to pay them a lot of money for them to write your resume. They mentioned ATSs on their website, but then they show this as an example that they provide. It's set up in columns. It's got an image. I think her name is in a text box. It's got lots of heavy formatting. So this is never going to make it through an ATS. I would say to Jane, use the one on the left when you submit your document digitally. When you go to the interview, you might want to take the one on the right. It's gorgeous, but be careful and avoid online temptations. So how are you going to make sure when you draft your resume that it's going to be legible by the ATS and that it's not going to be corrupted? Changing from one software to another will corrupt the text. So you cannot draft your resume in Google Docs and then save it to a Word document. As a matter of fact, much online software corrupts the resume. So do not use Notes, Pages, Adobe, Canva, Google Docs, resume generators. Just don't use any online software. Now you can use Word in Office.com, but the formatting features that you need to write your resume are not easy to find in Word on Office.com. So your best bet to avoid corruption is going to be to take these steps. First, open Word on your hard drive, then download the CMC template. Do not copy and paste any text from any other existing document or resume. You have to retype it fresh. It is almost impossible to copy and paste the text and not also copy and paste some dangerous formatting features. Then save it to a Word document. After you've done that, save it to a PDF. You want to submit a PDF unless the company asks for a Word document, because Word documents, sometimes when they're uploaded and then downloaded, it changes the formatting. So you want a PDF. Remember that every time you upload your PDF, it's going to get a little bit corrupted. So to make sure the ATS is going to be able to read the information, after you upload your resume about 15 times, you want to freshen your document. To do that, go back to the original Word document and save it again as a PDF. You can choose the same file name you did originally. Word will ask you, you already have a document by this name. Do you want to replace it? Just say yes. All right, as a JSOM student, there are two places that you can go to get help with resumes. First of all, you can come to the BCC. Our directive from the university is to help you develop your writing and presentation skills. So we will help you with your resume, your cover letter, LinkedIn, all of those documents. You can also go to the Career Management Center or the CMC. Their directive from the university is to help you prepare yourself for the job market. So in these two different resource centers, you're going to get different approaches toward resumes. There should be no conflicting advice, but it's just a different approach at each center because our goals for you are different. The CMC, they will give you resume appointments, career advice. They have networking events. I hope you are attending many of those. Lots of stuff to help you prepare for the job market. As a UT Dallas student, you can also go to the Career Center. Now, they help all UTD students, whereas the CMC and the BCC are focused just on business students. At the Career Center, they have, I think, about 13 different templates on their website, and only one of them is sort of maybe ATS compliant. So for now, we want to say just stick to the BCC and the CMC, and maybe visit both because you're going to hear different things from each of these centers because our approaches are different, but the information will be consistent. So I want to encourage you to book an appointment. You can do so at our website, indicated here in red, and let you know that for your resume, you also probably want to visit our website and watch the other resume format video, which is about establishing your brand. And then we have 2 short videos on how to build your bullet points. So make sure you watch both of those. And then please be aware that you can also bring class assignments to us. If you've got proposals, portfolios, emails, presentations, even if you're not sure where to start, we will brainstorm with you. And we also have a specialist for English language learners. So if you're learning English, come and visit us for that as well. There's a little additional information on this screen about ATSs, so you may want to pause the video and write these down. But I want to encourage you to make sure that your format is perfect on your resume. Visit the BCC. Thank you.